In this video, I'm going to talk to you about what forgiveness is. What are the required components of an effective apology? In my other video, I talk about what forgiveness is not. Make sure to click the link in the description below to watch that video as well. Learning some of these insights should help you navigate sensitive areas more delicately and repair relationship injuries more adequately. If you've been in a relationship of any kind, whether a romantic relationship, parent-child, friend, or coworker relationship, you know that sometimes we're going to do or say things that harm another person. And we're also going to neglect to say or do things that will create some pain. And most often, with the people that matter to us most. So we have to understand this very important dynamic called forgiveness. Because relational pain is inevitable, we're going to be on both ends of an injury, as the forgivee and the forgiver. And so we need to know and practice both giving and receiving this very practical demonstration of love that takes the form of forgiveness. So I'm going to share with you 14 insights about forgiveness. First, forgiveness is a choice. We don't have to forgive. Sometimes it seems impossible to ever pardon someone's harmful injury toward us or feel like we can ever be fully healed from the hurt. But we're taught from a young age to say you're sorry because it is good and the moral and right thing to do. But hang with me here. I do believe forgiving others and ourselves is a great choice. And I'm going to get into the reasons why. Forgiveness is a bitterness killer. Unforgiveness gives birth to bitterness, which can make a heart heavy, put tension and distance between two or more people, and act as a barrier for both relational and personal peace. Bitterness can really weigh us down, and we're required to put forth effort to keep unforgiveness alive. Have you ever had to remind yourself that you were mad at a person even when you naturally started to feel better around them and like them again? In part, that's because forgiveness is not quick and simple as we'd like it to be. Forgiveness is a process, and it's more than a single uttering of the phrase, "I'm sorry." A genuine apology must be accompanied by consistent behavioral change, or it will be believed to be disingenuous and manipulative. When it's said too quickly and expected to be the immediate solution, saying "I'm sorry" may feel like an attempt to free the offender, to get them off the hook, or just to end the conversation. The time to heal an injury or wound is very subjective. And so the same offense that may take one person several weeks to fully forgive may take another person several years. We all attach meaning to events, which in part explains why we have different memories of the same interaction. But one great thing about forgiveness is that it produces freedom. Forgiving is freeing. Being released as the forgivee, the person who has committed the harmful act, can feel great. When we know that we've harmed someone and how they've been negatively impacted, and we give it our best to repair the situation, when we hear those words, "I forgive you," we can feel an immediate sense of relief and peace and an instant connection to that person. When we, as the forgiver, forgive someone, we actually enjoy the benefits of this release as well. Not only does the other person feel pardoned for their offense, but we also feel free. We're not carrying the weight or burden of the issue. We've taken the step to reduce the tension and have thus freed up space in our minds and hearts. So forgiveness is also resentment prevention. Again, for both the forgiver and forgivee, holding a grudge requires effort. It drains us mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. And there's a lot of research about the negative physical side effects of not forgiving someone. Think of that for a minute. Keeping resentments alive actually harms us. Not only might we feel alone because of the loss of safety and connection in the relationship, but internally, the health of our bodies, including stress on our major organs, is being negatively impacted too. But forgiveness is also risky. There's a chance we won't receive the kind reply we expect. We may do our part to better understand how the injury happened and work to help heal the relationship, but then still be left hanging. Maybe the other person isn't ready, or worse, maybe they think that not forgiving allows them to hold on to more power. Another thing that can hinder us from forgiving is that we may think if we let someone off the hook, we're condoning their behavior or accepting it as okay. And so we may think we're putting ourselves in harm's way if we forgive them. So forgiveness is also vulnerable. Sharing an apology and asking for forgiveness requires humility. It's confessing our wrongdoing, admitting that we created pain for someone. And so when we open our mouths to take that very difficult step, someone could actually harm us by attacking us or telling us how awful we are for what we've done. We might expect this if we feel we deserved it, but it still hurts. Anytime we put ourselves out there, let down our guard, and put ourselves in the one down position, even for the desired return on investment of a stronger relationship, we're stepping into vulnerable territory. Either way, we're faced with uncertainty. As the person needing forgiveness, we may wonder, will my apology work? Are they going to hold this over my head? And as the person granting forgiveness, we may think, will they harm me again? Will I be able to trust them again? Or will I be seen as the fool? So by now you're hearing that forgiveness has great benefits, but that it can also be very messy. We can't really think that one apology will really fix everything, right? Depending on the offense, there may be multiple layers of pain. People are affected differently, and so it can be quite challenging as we bring our unique dynamic self to another unique dynamic person and hope to neatly line up both of our feelings and our experience of the injury. What you might think would produce a lot of harm towards someone maybe really won't have an impact at all. And what you think is no big deal may be a very big deal to another person. The best way to avoid the unnecessary mess is to know your most important people intimately. Know what might be hurtful and know what they specifically need to help heal their pain. They might want a long, sincere hug. They might want a long, meaningful conversation. They might want you to never say the "I'm sorry" phrase again. Whatever it is, consider meeting that need for them. One of the most important elements of forgiveness is being sincere. If you've ever received an arrogant, half-hearted apology, then you know why an effective apology needs to be sincere. Some elements of a sincere apology can work for the general population. This includes our tone and our body language matching the message we're trying to convey. If we're distracted and not really engaged in the present moment, it can come across as though we don't care. But when we're actively engaged, giving all our attention to the other person and using a kind tone, we're increasing our chances for our apology to be received as genuine, sincere, and empathetic. Overall, your partner will know if something shifted in you and if you're being sincere. It just feels different. Next, forgiveness is mercy. One way to understand mercy is not imposing what we believe are justified consequences. Many of us strive for justice and believe the punishment should fit the crime, so showing mercy to others can be hard. Yet when we do it, we're reminding ourselves that they're human too, and they're going to mess up at times just like we are. We do need to consider healthy relational boundaries after we've been harmed or wounded, but that's different. Showing mercy doesn't mean we bypass valuing ourselves and open ourselves up to additional harm. Forgiveness is also grace. Similar to showing mercy, extending grace to someone can be letting them off the hook despite their harmful actions and without them asking for forgiveness. Perhaps we're giving people something they don't deserve or haven't earned. We can forgive someone who hasn't asked for it or someone who hasn't demonstrated changed behavior. We can still put boundaries in place, and we may not even continue a relationship with them, but we can pardon or forgive their behavioral action. When this uncommon act of love has no strings attached, it seems unnatural and more supernatural. It can create a peacefulness that may not be attained even through the best human effort. So that brings us to how forgiveness is radical and illogical at times. Sometimes it doesn't make sense to forgive or release someone from a horrible offense. For example, it's mind-blowing when people forgive someone who critically injured or even murdered a family member. Maybe you've seen something like this on the news, where even in their intense grief, people still offer the gift of forgiveness. And they're not just talking about it, they're actually doing it, when the circumstances may suggest everything but forgiveness. People who can forgive on those levels likely have wanted to live in peace and not experience the accumulating pain that results in harboring unforgiveness. And perhaps more than ever, their love for all humanity shines in those moments. That's probably extending mercy and grace to the fullest. So with everything you've heard, both the benefits and the great effort it requires to experience them, maybe you can see how forgiveness is healing. The individual benefits are powerful enough to help us move forward with the act of forgiveness. We can live each day more peacefully, being free of relational tension. As mentioned before, we experience many health benefits by releasing another person from our mental prison. But the relational healing that can take place is even more powerful. Now, 2 or more people are feeling free and are able to get back to enjoying their lives more fully. And children or extended family may also feel the overflow of peace and calm that comes from relationship restoration. A relationship that has stood the test of time is usually stronger as a result of 2 people humbling themselves and putting forth effort to make numerous repairs time and time again. So through all this, you're probably thinking that forgiveness is hard. You're right. It's just hard. It takes energy and patience. As the person seeking forgiveness, the healing process doesn't work exactly the same every time you create an injury. You'll even discover new painful triggers throughout your relationship, and you'll need to approach the other person with the humble possibility that you're in the wrong and that the repair process may take longer than you'd like. As the person granting forgiveness, it sometimes fights against everything in you. You'll need to calculate the emotional risks of letting someone off the hook by demonstrating one of the greatest acts of love, but still needing to protect yourself at times. All right, as you can see, there's a lot we can learn about forgiveness. I hope you can add some of these insights to your relational toolbox. Knowing we're all going to mess up at times can help us have some grace for others. And we can all work on accepting some discomfort, but also recognizing that some relational boundaries may actually help us experience better physical, spiritual, emotional, and mental health. Then we can show up as our best selves to the people who matter most. Well, I'll see you next time and enjoy this day.